Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to another movie chat with myself and Tim Allen and also Tom Hunyadi. And let's say hello to some people that have been waiting here. Hello, Mike, of course. Hello to Halloween Rock. Hello. We just wanted to surprise you there. I call him DJ, this guy. Hello, DJ. Hi, hi, hi. Yeah, I decided to wear a Beatles shirt, even though it doesn't fit. Hi, Christian. Cherry Carter. What's the good word?
Hey, Cherry.
Well, gang's all here so far. Maybe even we'll get more gang. Lately we're getting our 4D man buddy in here. So anyway, what's the good word, guys? Anything at all?
Movies, more movies.
Yeah, I watched one,
Hey,
and it's one that I've seen already.
you don't
Well,
say.
then again, I was watching the commentary for The Mask of Fu Manchu. And I got to tell you, I know you like Myrna Loy and all that. I really hate that they got her prominent on the cover. That's so wrong. It's a Karloff that should be prominent, but that's a
Yeah,
way they do it.
she's more of a bit character in there.
Yeah, that's for sure. And where do we begin? So I want to save a little bit of the things we've seen for later on. I'll show you what I picked up. I picked a couple of things up just today, actually, and both of them I had my reservations about picking up. But hold on a minute. I have seen 0 movies since last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rod, hello. Good to see you. What's the good word? Oh, yeah, the Frankenstein meets the Wolfman poster. I was in that closet today. Let me tell you something. I was in there because I need to find old family photos. My mom wanted to see some family photos that I had. You can't see here, but there's all kinds of stuff in front of that door and piled up from the floor. CDs, movies, all. I had to really move all that to get in there. And then I was in there. I had the poster, so I put it up. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and I put some things in there. There's a lot of things in there need to be sold. Let me tell you. Yeah, that's one of my favorite monster movies for sure. For sure. Times 3. All right. Anyway, so I was at my record store where they have movies, and I picked up a couple. Now, first one would be the Towering Inferno, which these were cheap. I picked it up. I don't know, it just hit me at the right moment. Now, I've said whenever this movie's title comes up, I saw it one time. Didn't see it in the movies. I saw it on a video or something. And I don't know, it bored me a little. It was over long. It wasn't my favorite of the disaster films. But for some reason, it just said hello to me when I saw it. I thought maybe I could watch this again on a nice Blu-ray at some point. And considering I've got like hundreds of movies to watch that I've been putting off, I don't know how soon it's going to be. So don't ask me next week. Although you'll do it for a joke, of course.
Of course.
For a joke, people will say to me, "Oh, so when what did you get that you watched yet?" Also, this one, which I've never seen. Here's a film I never saw. And you ready for this? Let's go. What could it be?
Hey, all right. Yeah, that's
All
the one
right.
I got. That's the one I got.
Because I hear great things about this, and you like gladiator movies. I actually don't like gladiator movies per se, but I like this historical kind of day and age and everything, and movies like this. So I'm going to give it a try because I've heard such good things about it. At some point, when is this going to go on? I don't know. Same thing I said before. I don't know which one.
Fantastic movie.
Absolutely, it is fantastic, as Tom would say.
Yes.
Fantastic. And we got. Let me see. Let's see. Hello, 4D. The Frankie Wolfie post. Of course, it's not. This is a real cheap knockoff, And it's a funny thing. Even though I like authentic things, like when it comes to collecting records, I almost don't mind knockoff posters like that, like repros, because instead of spending like $100,000 for the real McCoy or that, I don't mind spending $25 or whatever. I think I got that at the flea market one year for real cheap. I'm going to put up a link here in case I was going to say in case 4D Man, but because I saw Gray 1951, I'll say in case anybody wants to, almost anybody wants to come up. Let me just, now taking me a while to figure this out. Copied. Let's see if the link cooperates today. It cooperated. Sometimes it sticks. Now that's interesting. I saw Oliver Reed's name there.
Yeah.
Does he have a substantial part in it?
It's a more of a bit part. I mean, I guess you could consider it a cameo, but a little bit more than a cameo.
Let's see. Yeah, you heard that, huh? Yeah, it must have been from some millennial or something. Gladiator was a remake of Ben-Hur. Well, I hear that he becomes a slave or something. So, hello, Mike. Good to see you,
Mike.
Hey, Mike.
It feels like if you like apes films, you'd like disaster films. I don't know about that.
Sounds like a Dickie Dolan review. If you like this, then you'll like.
Towering Inferno has, like, to me, made for TV vibes. I know it's not a made for, but it just has that feeling about it.
Yeah, I think it does. That's one of the things about it. I think when I hello 4D.
Cheers.
Hello. Let's see. I'm just trying to get some comments up here. Just let me. Baby, don't go. Oh, baby, don't go. I got Ringo's song. That's my favorite song on the album, by the way. All right, the interrogator.
I got my zoetropes in the mail today. The George Harrison zoetropes.
No, you really got those things? I believe you. You have to show. No, why? I sold. I got a Beatles pile. You want to see my Beatles pile? Not here. I'll show it another time.
Yeah.
This is one of the things in the Beatles pile. Japanese White Albums. Oh yeah. I ain't kidding. As a kid, I loved Earthquake. Also saw and liked the Poseidon Adventure. I like those two better. Yeah, I do. And I like Airport 75 better. And what other ones are there? Yeah, I never saw Earthquake and Sense Around, I gotta say.
Yeah, I saw all three of those films when they came out at the cinema.
Oh, you saw them in the cinema, right?
Yeah. But for me, Towering Inferno was far and away the best. You put Paul Newman and Steve McQueen together. Come on. Hey, are you here to take me on or the fire?
Preach it, buddy. Preach it. Towering Funeral every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
No, 4D. That's from the movie, the 4D Man, right?
Yeah, that's right. 1959. Is 4D a reference to 19? I was born in 1959, and so was the film.
Oh, there you go. A welcome edition. Interesting gent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone seen the new Mummy? It sounds really intense and ultra gory. Oh, maybe I'll have to see it. No, I'm not. I'd have no intention to see it.
Yeah, I heard it was pretty gory. One of the YouTubers movie YouTubers I follow said it was pretty gory. Different take on the whole Mummy thing.
It better be. They've been doing way too many of those in recent decades. So.
Right.
Can't put my finger on it, but whose name was slightly higher on the marquee? McQueen or Newman?
Yes, McQueen.
There's a story about that.
Yeah.
What is it?
Their agents had a battle and they resolved it by, if you look at the credit, when the film comes on, one of them is nearer to the left-hand side. So they would seem to be the first person that you read, because we read left to right. But the other one's name was above, on the far right-hand side was above. Let's have a look at that one. There you go. So there you've got Steve McQueen on the left. So he's first, but Paul Newman is above him by half a line. Right. So what they did on some posters, it was Steve McQueen on the far left with Paul Newman up above a little bit, and on others it was the other way around. But so that's the way they did it.
I wouldn't see. I don't really know. I would think at that time, Paul Newman was doing pretty well. I mean, right, with Sting had just been out and everything. But McQueen too, was he? Papillon and all.
They were both big draws at the time.
Yeah. Steve McQueen was about to bow out, but up until then he'd done The Getaway with Sam Peckinpah in '72. Right. So he did
Thomas Crown Affair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 68. Yeah. He did one flop, which was The Reavers in 1970.
Right.
But Newman had one or two flops, didn't he, sometimes?
Oh, absolutely. Well, he was a little bit more prolific than McQueen was. I mean, Newman was taking on more roles than McQueen was.
Sure. That's true.
I mean, he never impressed me much, Steve McQueen, to be honest with you. But I haven't seen all the best movies. I mean, I see Papillon. I was my favorite that I've seen of his.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen, but he just seems like a usual tough guy kind of thing, cop, rugged guy. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but he was a draw, though. I mean, he was a tough guy that was actually getting butts to seats.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of magnetism, and I think he knew it, which was why he kept saying to script writers, "Just take out that line because I can do that with a look."
Anybody know this?
Whereas other actors were monopolizing. They wanted as many lines as they could get, but he was shedding lines, and so he must have known that he had some kind of mystique that was a draw to the camera.
Movie's called All of Us Strangers.
No, I haven't seen that one. No.
Listen, I did hear some news, which was interesting, from my friend Lou, who does not have internet at all, doesn't do anything with internet, yet he's telling me news. And I said, I'm a little skeptical. It sounds dubious, the news he had. And he said, I don't know how he got the news if he doesn't do internet, but he said supposedly they found the ending closing of the 31 Dracula with Edward Van Sloan.
Yeah, no, they did. They did. I watched it.
I watched it too after the fact. After he told me, I said, "Let me see it," because I'm wondering these days they can do anything. Like you take a little bit of him, and you can run it through whatever they run it through, AI or whatever, and duplicate it. Well, I saw it. I'm not prepared to make that. I've seen it, but
so can you elaborate, Joe? Because I'm not sure was there a different ending or something in the first place?
Yeah, well, Tim, I don't want to steal Tim's thunder if you about if they're all.
No, you can go ahead.
Well, you have him standing at the end, like say, something like "Before you go home tonight, turn out the lights. Remember, there are such things." Like he says that at the end, at the end.
Yeah,
of the movie.
The Van Sloan character, the same. It's like a bookend, only they filmed them opposite. You know, Frankenstein opens with the guy coming out talking about being scared and all that stuff. The old Dracula ended that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you think about it that way, too, it's like because Dracula was first, so it's like it ended with him, Edward Van Sloan's speech, and then Frankenstein has him with the beginning.
And opens with him. Yeah.
I mean, because they only had a little clip that originally that survived, and now they have. I mean, I saw it. It looks whatever it is. It looks good to me. It looks good.
Well, yeah, they found it on a 16mm film somewhere.
Wow.
I forget where.
Wow.
Somebody's breadbasket, right?
After all these years.
Yeah.
And now
I must have known it at some point because that's one of the universal scripts I've got. But the problem I'm getting now as I'm getting older, and because I read so many books a week, I'm forgetting an awful lot of what I've read. It's a bit disturbing. So I must have just forgotten that completely, what you just said.
Yeah, it's short but sweet, and maybe it'll wake people up after they fall asleep on the Dracula. Because I love Lugosi, and I love all his stuff and Dracula too to a degree, but I do find it's very slow. Even all these many times I've watched it.
Yeah. Even the way he talks is slow.
Yeah, it's very slow in that movie too. But it turns out that they were saying that, you know, now they're going to put it in future releases of Dracula on home video. So now I got to buy it over.
All right.
For when they do that, you know.
Yeah, me too.
I think it'll be a while. They said they thought it'd be a while before that happens because
Wait a minute,
they just put one out. They just put one out, so they're not going to put another one out now that just because they found out.
They better not wait till 2031. They might. But just for that little thing. How about Pocket Money?
Yeah, Warner
Marvin,
Brothers.
right.
Yeah, Lee Marvin and Paul Newman. They Warner Brothers did a Paul Newman box set on DVD some years ago, before Blu-ray took off, and I had it at the time, and Pocket Money was in that box set, and it's okay. I don't think it's anything special.
Yeah, I can't remember why I was disappointed in it, but I remember I was disappointed.
Right.
I think I watched that recently and don't even remember it. If that tells that.
Right.
A new film called Backrooms.
Backrooms looks that now. I did see that trailer. That movie does look very intriguing. Yeah, watch the trailer for that. Go to YouTube, type in Backrooms trailer or whatever, and it does look very interesting.
You prefer 31 Frankenstein to the Bride sequel of Frankenstein 35. Do you? Well, I have my opinion. My opinion is it depends on my mood. I think that I like them both because they're so different. You know, I think Frankenstein is more intense, it's got comedy, but it's more straight than Bride. And Bride is just a complete and utter like lark, but just have a blast and a ball. I think I'd give Bride the edge if I had to give one. How about anybody else have an opinion?
Bride by a mile.
Bride.
Yeah, by Dr. Pretorius is just Ernest Thesiger.
Yeah.
Priceless, just priceless.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. All right, I'm going to take a little break here, so just to tell you the one movie that I watched since we last. You know, unless you count things like commentary tracks, you know, I watched The Mask of Fu Manchu, which you do. I know Tim talks about them. So I watched the Mask of Fu Manchu commentary track from 1932. First time I think hearing that all the way through. But yesterday was a Sunday, and I got together with my friend Anthony.
Oh, you did get together with him.
We went out and stuff, and then we said, let's watch a movie. And he said, hey, since it's Sunday, when we were growing up, Abbott and Costello was on every Sunday. So he said, why don't we watch an Abbott and Costello? And Anthony, in typical fashion, you think I'm bad. He tends to go only with what he knows. He says, hey, you want to watch Meet Frankenstein? I said, look, I've seen that 1 billion times, and I watch it every Halloween. How about Abbott and Costello meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Same thing. How about we do Who Done It, which I think is one of the Abbott and Costello films that is the best. I pulled out this thing here, my box set, the Abbott and Costello Universal Pictures Collection, which I've upgraded to Blu-ray. It's got 28 films in here.
Wow.
And I've seen it many times who done it, but I haven't seen it in a while. But the reason I like it as one of the better, I put it in my top 5 Abbott and Costello films, is because first of all, they're younger, they're in their prime, and also there's no singing numbers in it. Not that I have anything against that per se, but a lot of times it could slow it down depending on the song or the act. So there's no singing in it, and it's about a radio station, and there's a murder at the radio station. They do like a live action horror show on the radio, and somebody really gets murdered. So we got to figure out who done it and all that kind of stuff. But the real reason it's so worth it is what you want in Abbott and Costello movies is you want routines. You want them doing all these different things. Now, some of the funniest things are in there. There's the Limburger cheese skit when they work in a diner and the Limburger cheese stinks to high heavens, and the guy wants a sandwich, and Costello's got to try to make a sandwich while he's getting sick with smelling the Limburger cheese. And then you got there's so many things. Who's on first? Well, they got here talking about volts and watts. Watts, volts or watts. What's volts? That kind of thing. It's funny when you watch them do it than me say it. And then you've got one of my favorite routines when Costello he wins a radio contest, and they're out on the road, and you got to call up in 5 minutes to claim the prize, $10,000 he won. And you have pay telephones then. So every time he goes in to pay telephone, the line's busy. And the place is just across the street, really, a short distance away. So he can't make any call. But meanwhile, another one comes in, he uses the phone calling up England or whatever. Another one comes in calling up Russia. All these places, they get right through, but he can't get through. And that's another routine. And there's a whole bunch of other routines, too. There's a funny one with William Bendix, if you know him from the life. He was known for The Life of Riley. And it's just one of those routines where he's a detective, and Costello somehow gets him into his own handcuffs cuffs him behind his back. So Costello's free to play with his nose and punch him in the chin. And of course, at one point, somehow he gets unlocked with the cuffs, and that's not a pleasant outcome once he gets unlocked. So anyway, there's a lot of good routines. I know you all run out and watch that right away after the show.
Is it the Karloff one, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
Yeah, he's in two of them. That's one, and he's in The Killer. Abbott and Costello meet the killer, Boris Karloff.
Right. Why didn't they get him in Meet Frankenstein?
He didn't want to. He had too much respect for the monster, and he thought it was they were going to lampoon him too much. And it really wasn't like that movie. They kind of kind of straight. So
and it had high production. I had production values. That castle with the stairway going down to the water. I thought it was pretty cool.
It's nice looking. Yeah, nice production, nice sets, stuff like that. They had there's a picture that's around. There's a big giant poster outside, and they at least asked Karloff if he would pose with the poster. So a picture of him standing out there, pointing up at it like this, and very skeptical way. And it said, "Would you pose with the poster?" And he said, "As long as I don't have to see the film."
Whoa.
And in which time it turns out that's considered their best movie. And you couldn't know that at the time, right? And Karloff thought it would be, insulting to the monster, so he didn't want to lower himself to that. Now, one of the things about that, did you ever see there are photographs of him, Karloff, in the monster makeup a year or so earlier than that? Though again, he was gonna be in the movie, and they have him in the makeup and everything. In the movie, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, there's actually pictures of Karloff backstage as the monster again at this late date.
What does he look like at that late date?
He looks good. He looks as he's got the monster makeup, the usual.
Damn, makes me think. That makes me think. Why didn't he do it one more time, man?
I mean, I wish I could get it that fast. I can't call it up. I don't think my phone is even here. But it's really a good picture. He's got a cigarette in his hand backstage, and what I understand is they never used it. I don't know if it still exists because it's full makeup, backstage. But there you have that. Oh yeah, Alexander. Rocco knows it. Alexander 4444. Well, that's on the TV show. In the movie, it's Alexander 2222. Please, it's just across the street, operator. Get me Alexander 2222, please. Line is busy. Alexander 2222. Could you speak louder, please? Alexander 2222. Louder, please. If I call any louder, I won't have to call them up. They'll hear me. That's great, man. That's his real surname. Costello. Well, Cristillo, maybe. Cristillo? Hold on a minute. Maybe it's Cristillo. C-R-I, Cristillo. I could be wrong. Yeah, I think that's right. Getting the urge to watch Farewell, My Lovely.
Oh, yeah, 1975.
Okay, there's a little in talking. Okay, they're all talking amongst themselves. All right, so by the way, 4D man, if you've seen anything this past week or whatever that you want to talk about, you're welcome as well. You see anything different?
I'll only show. Oh, I nearly forgot.
Show stuff, whatever.
Yeah, well, I must show this. I've already spoken about Little Shop of Horrors before.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, every issue is as loaded with great research as a book. The interviews that they got with the principal people, especially of Hammer Films, who are now dead, makes every issue priceless. They're absolutely marvelous. So this is the one I'm reading at the moment because I love this film more than any other Hammer film, Brides of Dracula. Right,
It's a good one.
Because Joe mentioned this before, I don't know if I'll be able to find the photograph for you to look at. It's not a big photograph anyway. Well, okay. Let me see if this will show up on camera. It's the first one. It's the first photograph of those. Can you see that first one, Joe? The top one, the black and white.
Yeah, it's got Lee, and who's in the top?
Yeah, you can see Francis Matthews. You can see Barbara Shelley and Susan Farmer. So what's that event, Joe? You know what that event is.
They reunited for the commentary track, the Dracula Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, there you go. And which, it was originally done for a laser disc in 1997. So which I didn't have a laser disc, so I only got it when it was on Anchor Bay, probably like you, Joe, that you got it on Anchor Bay. So I haven't even got in that magazine yet to the accounts of Brides of Dracula, but there's a 3-page account of that reunion where they all got together to do the Laserdisc because Ted Newsom was the guy who principally organized it. Right. Yes, I know. So and I'll tell you, Joe, it's a beautiful article. It's really touching. And if it wasn't for Ted Newsom, that event would never have happened. So and he paid his own flight to come to London to do it. And they were going to pay all the 4 people. And then the guy who owned the Laserdisc company started penny pinching and saying, well, you have to tell one of them that we're not going to be able to pay them. So Ted Newsom said, there's no way I'm doing that. I'll pay out of my own money. And he did. He paid that 4th person, which is probably Susan Farmer. And then when they got there, obviously it was a big deal because they were recording 2 films, audio commentaries. One was
Rasputin,
yep, and the other one was Dracula Prince of Darkness. And of course, and there were maybe 8 or 10 people, Ted Newsom said, who were in that room with an excuse of setting up the microphones or an excuse of setting up something or other, and a lot of them had memorabilia for them to sign. And when Ted Newsom, when Ted Newsom brought a few things towards Christopher Lee for him to sign, I mean, bear in mind this is the guy who set the whole thing up. But the guy who owned the Laserdisc company interjects and says, well, we haven't got time for that now. And Ted Newsom says in this article, and then about 5 minutes later, he sees this guy produce a lot of memorabilia for Christopher Lee to sign. I thought, this guy's paid money out of his own pocket, probably for Susan Farmer to be there. He set the whole thing up, and he's been knocked back like that. So, okay, so bear in mind, Joe, what you noticed and I noticed when we listened to those audio commentaries, because you said Christopher Lee just wouldn't fucking shut up. He wouldn't let anybody else.
Yeah, he's very, very sorry, Chris, but he's very pompous. He's the main guy, and I love that he doesn't come on. He doesn't get revived. Dracula does not get revived till midway through the movie. So the whole beginning is the other characters and actors doing their thing, and they start talking about, among other things, the first film, Dracula. This is the sequel. This is the second one.
Right.
Anyway, and he starts talking about the first film and what he did in the first film, and he says, at one point, and I'm paraphrasing. He says, I'll just keep on talking because what's actually the only thing happening here is it's basically setting up for what's to come, like when he gets on screen.
Right,
so
right.
Denying these people a chance to talk.
Right. So and every time I read a book or I read anything, I make lots of notes. So it keeps me concentrating. So I can quote you a little bit from that article, from exactly what Joe has just been talking about. So it's a beautiful moment. So Ted Newsom is in the room, sat back while they're doing this commentary. They've all got headphones on. They've all microphones are watching the monitor, and they're making a commentary. And Ted Newsom says, we expected Dracula Prince of Darkness recording to be a chance for Shelley, Matthews, and Farmer to speak. Inasmuch as Lee doesn't appear on screen until half an hour into the film, we were wrong. Christopher Lee was a raconteur from frame one, And this is the bit, Joe, that obviously we would never hear, we'd never see, because while we were doing it here in the commentary, he says at one point, Suzanne Farmer caught my eye and smiled as if to say, "It's all right. We do appreciate all this, you know." Isn't that sweet? Isn't that beautiful? But just to compensate a bit, because Lee can come across as so pompous. This I thought this was beautiful. That after it was all done and they were getting ready to leave, they'd done the two commentaries. They'd had a little bit of a lunch between the two films, and they were all saying their farewells. Christopher Lee brought over Ted Newsom, and he says, "Where are those things you wanted signed? Go get them. I'm going to sign them. Here, let's get some pics." So Lee remembered that he'd had his nose pushed out by that other guy, and he put it right at the end of that, and also nice. He posed for pictures. So he has got a sweet side, Christopher Lee. But well,
that's
that
nice.
Isn't that great though, Joe? That you get that insider account of that historic audio.
And that real quick, you know, that's a great magazine, Little Shop of Horrors, as you said. Yeah. Every time they did one, they'd be take a while between issues, but when it would be like a book, you have a little book.
Well, yeah. Well, this one was 1999, and the issue before it was 1996. That's how long.
Yeah, they would take a long time, but boy, it was worth it. I've got a few of them. I don't know which if I have that one, but anyway, yeah. By the way, before we go on, did you know Christopher Lee also did the commentary for Scars of Dracula?
Yes, with Roy Ward Baker. Yeah.
And he seems to. I'm surprised that he seemed like this movie's not that bad. I said at the end, he said, because that's considered one of the worst. I personally like Scars of Dracula quite a bit.
Right.
But that's that, guys. So I know not everybody's a Hammer fan as we are, but I appreciate everybody's indulgence for that one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see where I can go here before we move on to our next co-host. See what the problem is. There's I can't having private conversation. I can't tell. We watched the Atomic Submarine, which I've never seen. Only spoiled because I was arguing over social media with some the spaghetti monster. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. I have a DVD that has it as a co-feature, but that's not the reason I have it. I don't have it for that one. Do you change those movie posters for the? You do, right? You always change.
Yes, you're right. I do change them for the show.
I want to see the movie, The Fugitive again. I've seen it in the theater, but I haven't seen it since the theater. All right, let's move on. Hello, Beetle Eddie. All right. Okay. Let's see now. Tim's got a lot of stuff because he wasn't here last week, so I'm going to leave him for the grand finale as far as showing his stuff because he's talking about what he's trying to recover here. Talk about the stuff because he's got a lot. So, Tom, I know everybody's waiting, and I know I'm waiting to hear about a movie, or at least one movie that you saw theatrically.
Yes. Yeah, we'll save that for last. But
you got. Oh, you're gonna show me what you got too. You picked.
Yeah. Two more films from the greatest genre of all time, the Criterion Collection. We all know that.
What is genre?
Yeah, right. Well, we spoke about Lee. Yeah, we spoke about Lee Marvin earlier. They Criterion got the license for Point Blank. With Angie Dickinson as well, and Keenan Wynn, Carol O'Connor. Archie Bunker has a bit role here at the end of the movie as well. This is pretty good. There's a remake of this. Does anybody know what the title of the remake is? Anyone? No. Okay. Payback with Mel Gibson from 1999, based on the same book. But anyways, this is and Angie's cute in here. Lee Marvin's badass in the movie. One of the things that I like that Criterion did was they got the licensings to the Dick Cavett show. And whenever there's an actor like Lee Marvin that was on the Dick Cavett show, they'll use those for a special feature on the DVD or Blu-ray or 4K, whatever one you get. So there's a pretty cool 15-minute special feature with Lee Marvin as one of his interviewees for that show, which also had Jean Monroe and who was in Cold Blood killer Truman Capote was there as well. So pretty good movie. I don't know if it's Lee Marvin's best movie, but it's a nice, I'd say a B level movie. But
Tom,
yeah, check it out.
Tom,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
On the Criterion channel, there was a great 12-minute clip of Jim Jarmusch talking about that film. Is it on the extras chance that Jim Jarmusch?
No, hold on one second. I thought it was. Yes. There's a new Reflections on Point Blank by Jim Jarmusch. Yes, that is on
great.
Yeah,
worth getting.
Yeah. There's a little documentary called The Rock, which we all know is the nickname for Alcatraz.
Yeah.
That's on here. There's an audio commentary featuring director John Borman and Steven Soderbergh, the director. And there's some other stuff in here. New interview with critic Mark Harris. There's some archival stuff on here. Interview with, like I said, Lee Marvin from 1970 on the episode of The Cavett Show. So there's a lot going on in this one. So a lot of good special features on here. And the other Criterion pick I picked up is big David Cronenberg fan. He's had some later day success, and I think one of his better movies of his second half of his career is a film called History of Violence, along with Eastern Promises. I think those two films really good. David Cronenberg kind of getting away from the whole, body horror, really trippy stuff, kind of like David Lynch style stuff, into more contemporary filmmaking. And this one has, great performances from Viggo Mortensen. You got a really good standout role here from William Hurt and Ed Harris as well in here. So this is from what year again was this? This was 2005. So again, a really, really nice later day film from David Cronenberg. So definitely check that one out. Now, the film I saw in theater last Wednesday, AMC had an early access fan screening, they like to call them. So I got tickets to go see Michael. Now, seeing the trailer, I was really excited to see the film. And listen, Michael, his music, over the whether he's with Jackson 5 or solo, his music has been around since the day I was born. And I got to tell you, it was enjoyable. However, it wasn't there wasn't enough substance to it. If you just want to go there and see the legacy and appreciate his music, you'll really like the movie. Okay. However, if you wanted like some meat and potatoes of his life, yes, you just get little nuggets here and there. Okay, this was like kind of like that Reagan movie that came out last year or 2 years ago. It's just the greatest hits of Michael Jackson's, life up into 1988.
Okay, what about his dad?
Yes, Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo was fantastic. Now there is a couple scenes where you show how, demanding and how controlling he was as an individual. There's a scene in there when they're younger and Michael's tired and he doesn't want to rehearse. And then, Coleman Domingo, he takes his belt off and he whips him, a little bit.
Well,
the whole, yeah.
Thank you for spoiling. Not that I want to steal whipping. I'm just saying that.
No, but there is a little bit of that, and there's also the one scene that you see in the trailers. So this isn't really a spoiler. Where so Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson releases Off the Wall. Okay, so Michael Jackson's, he's it. So obviously Joe Jackson now he wants to take advantage of that and get the kids together and go out on tour as Jackson 5. So it'll be, a more successful tour. And then he did the same thing with Thriller as well. Once he saw how big Thriller was, he wanted the kids to get back together and do another tour. So he wanted to capitalize on Michael
Victory
Jackson's
tour.
The Victory Tour, right? Exactly. And, and then I didn't realize that on the last show, he announced it, that this was it. We're done. During that show, and there's a scene backstage which I won't give away, But you don't see any real in-depth relationship between him and his brothers or sisters. You see some interactions with him and his mother. You get the sense that he did not like his dad. As a matter of fact, the way his dad got fired was really interesting. So you might like that. But yeah, there's like really no substance. Now the controversial part is now this film was supposed to come out last year. Okay, now there was some court cases that were in that particular movie. However, the Jackson estate did not tell the filmmakers that the court case that they chose to put in the movie, there is a contract or an understanding or a lawsuit saying that in no terms whatsoever can the Jackson estate can ever discuss that particular family that they chose in any kind of media or movie or book or whatever. So shame on the Jackson estate for not giving that information to the filmmakers. So therefore there is still a half a movie out there. So they're saying that depending on how well this film does, which it made over $200 million worldwide over the weekend. So, I mean, I guess you can say it's on its way to being a very successful film, that there may be a part 2, and which will tackle more of the controversial stuff that happened in his life.
Now, is this true? I mean, I've heard that so far critically it's not doing so great.
Critically,
fans
no.
like it.
There's a 97% fan approval rating on
Rotten
Tomatoes.
It's celebrating all the music and all that.
It's celebrating the music, and again, right. And again, if that's all you're looking for, it's like the same thing with Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, there was like no real. They really didn't get into Freddie Mercury's lifestyle or anything like that in that particular movie, from my understanding. So this does the same thing. It's just, again, like the greatest hits. You see some interaction. You don't learn anything really. I mean, I was hoping to learn more about the family dynamics and stuff like that, but you just don't get that. You see Michael Jackson seeing a news special about these gangs, rival gangs and how they're killing each other, but then he gets this great idea. Well, if I bring them up, if I bring them in and they can teach me some dance moves, I'll put them in a music video. So he's kind of like naive in the sense that he feels like music can bring peace all over the world and harmony and stuff like that. But it's enjoyable.
It makes you wonder how many fans have a don't want to know syndrome, if there's anything bad about the because Beatles fans suffer from this somewhat as well. If you say anything derogatory about any Beatles record or any Beatles bit of behavior, some Beatles fans go ape shit because they just want to ignore.
Right. Well, here's the fact. The fact is Michael Jackson was never convicted of anything. Okay, that's a fact. Okay. Right. However, he has settled out of court with several lawsuits that were brought up against him. So now, in the court of popular opinion, I mean, not popular, but people are going to think he's guilty.
Yeah. By the way, I should mention though, when I said, I was hoping there'd be some of the dirt.
Right.
Just for the record, I wasn't talking about that kind of dirt, because as far as I know, all that came much later. Talking about that, I know that this movie only goes up to like the early 80s.
It covers it covers the making of Thriller. It covers the victory tour and what him announcing that that's it, we're done. And then the last scene is his nephew, which is fantastic. His nephew was fantastic as Michael Jackson. There's no doubt about it. And he's performing the song "Bad" from the album "Bad" live on stage. And then the movie ends.
Well, the problem with this is people never get underrated and overrated right. Who overrates it? The problem with the Beatles is that it's underrated. it's often when Beatles fans rank their albums with the Beatles is usually near the bottom with Beatles for Sale and with the Beatles. I think it's a great album. It's my favorite, one of my favorites, maybe the favorite of the Beatles albums. And just so it's not overrated. If anything, it's always low rated. But the thing is, my nephew, I'm glad to be able to throw this in. I don't know why. That's his favorite album. And he's always playing it, of the Beatles. And the other day, in fact, he told me he went to the record store. They have all these Japanese versions with the Obi strips, and he picked that one only because he wanted that one. But anyway, yeah. So I'm not. I don't think I'm going to see Michael anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you
was
judge for yourself, but I've heard enough. I think that it's going to be what, you know.
Yeah. Now I was kind of hoping that there would be some kind of McCartney connection, seeing that they work together, and that he bought the rights to to the publishing rights to the Beatles catalog. The only mention that you see of anything Beatles related is when ABC is released, and you see them performing ABC, and then the Billboard chart is kind of like superimposed on the screen as well. Then you just see like ABC like rising the charts and knocking the Beatles Let It Be off of the top spot. That's the only Beatles related things. Yeah, the only Beatles thing you see in the film.
ABC's it's my favorite Jackson 5 song.
Hey, look, it's a number 1 hit.
That's a perfect age for that single. ABC.
I will say, there's also some really cool isolated vocals that you hear that they play throughout the movie, with Michael as a child, and then Michael doing Thriller. Very cool.
Okay, before we go on, Christopher Lee and Vincent Price have a co-stars. One side that I know of. Oh, yeah, they were.
Well, so during the whole Thriller montage, there.
This is about Vincent Price and Christopher Lee. I know what we're talking about. Lee and Price.
Well, it just reminded me of something. But go ahead.
Was it House of Long Shadows or something?
Yeah, that horrible movie. It's this movie, House of Long Shadows. Desi Arnaz Jr. is in it, and it's one of a lot of times in life, whether it's music or movies, when they have the opportunity, to bring people together like they did with De Niro and sometimes Pacino, and it doesn't always rise in the oven. Same thing here. They had Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Vincent Price, John Carradine, I think, and Desi Arnaz Jr. And it's kind of a dull movie, and it's like too bad, they have them all together and it didn't work. That's the only one I know of, though, off the top of my head. Right?
You've just reminded me, because I'm getting old. There's a delayed reaction in conversations, but so one delayed reaction from ages ago when we were talking about the Towering Inferno. Actors have certain mannerisms, and sometimes it's a deficit to their acting because it starts to feel like they keep playing the same role. So with Paul Newman, he must have put it in the script because there's too many times where he goes, "You betcha," and that became like a catchphrase.
Yeah, I think I'm going to throw this in the garbage.
With Steve McQueen, you just note how many times, including the Towering Inferno, when he takes a phone call. This happens in Bullet as well. And then it's the end of the phone call. He goes, like he's thinking about the phone call, and he's still got the receiver there. It's just this pause that he does before he goes on, like he holds a moment, and he must have done that 4 times at least.
That's cool. You brought that up because I remember when Yul Brynner talking, or it was somebody talking about the Magnificent Seven, where he didn't have the bigger role. Yul Brynner had the bigger role, but McQueen was kind of like outstaging him while he was doing things with other chickens or with a cigarette or whatever. He was kind of
like with his hat and measuring where the sunlight was so he could dip his hat.
Yes.
I was wondering, are you referring like also specifically to like actors having their own like trademark or habits that they bring from movie to movie?
Yeah.
Well, I have a Charlton Heston one. He wears his watch with the face inside.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times when he's looking at, whenever he's got to say what time it is, he goes like that.
Yeah.
In any movie that he's in, with a watch, when he has to look at his watch.
And the other thing I must remember, Joe, is in the previous issue to this one, Little Shop of Horrors, there's an account of Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee's final meeting, which was for the narration of that 2-part Hammer documentary, Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
You remember? And Peter Cushing was so ill that he died in between the 2 episodes during transmission in BBC. So, and I can't remember whether it was Ted Newsom again, but whoever did it, it was a beautiful article that talked about how absolutely ill Peter Cushing. He looked like he could die any minute. He was so cadaverous. So the cancer was at quite a late stage. But as soon as he saw Christopher Lee come in, it was so moving. Like they had that old rapport where they would just giggle and joke about old times. And what was beautiful about the article, I felt, was I should have brought it out. It's stacked up in the shelf now. But it was so well written. All the way home in the car, when Christopher Lee talked about old times, and he talked about everything but Peter Cushing, and what the writer was suggesting was that it was one of Christopher Lee's best performances, because he showed no sign of being upset at how grave Peter Cushing was. But in later interviews, he said he knew that would be the last time that he would see Peter Cushing, because it was so obvious that the man was dying. But he didn't want Peter Cushing to see him upset about that, because he wanted to give him that one last moment where they've got the old Hammer rapport together.
Yeah,
again.
Sure. And they were dear friends too, in real life.
Exactly. Yeah. So they were just together for 2 hours to do this narration, and Peter Cushing sometimes got it wrong because he was so ill. So Christopher Lee would sort of revive him with old jokes and stuff, get him to laugh, so it get his spirits up, so it got him through it. And you come out of it with a greater respect for Christopher Lee, because sometimes he gets bad press. But that was quite a dear friendship that those two had.
It's nice in that situation. All right. Well, I think Dr. Terror's House of Horrors is one of my favorites of the what you want to call it, anthology type films.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, Tom. Sorry. We love talking about Hammer stuff.
I know, that's great. I love it. I learned more about it. No, it's just that while he was recording Thriller, and then he was trying to pick a name for the album. He was while they're showing this montage, he's also watching all these older horror films, and it was the one Vincent Price film where it's the doctor. How do you pronounce the name? Fibes. Yeah, he's watching. Yeah, that, and then he came up. Okay, well then I'm going to call the movie Thriller, because he kind of liked horror films.
Yeah.
So,
and at first I was wondering, like, why would you think that was a question to do with Michael Jackson? Then I remembered, Vincent Price.
Price. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. True. But so you what else did you watch? I know there's another, right?
I got my next film I'm going to be watching called Master and Commander: Far Side of the World with Russell Crowe, Paul Bentley. But I'll talk about that next week.
Okay, let's get some kind. I like Lee Marvin, Hell in the Pacific,
and why am I
Last Hard Men? No, James Coburn's in there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Geez, Marvin acted in 2 excellent Twilight Zone episodes.
One with the robot, the robot boxer. I remember.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. With the future year of 1974, I think it is, or 73.
All right.
Also heard the Michael Jackson film was disappointing. Well, of course you got to judge for yourself. I always believe that. But I respect Tom's opinion, enough that what he told me, I don't know. I mean, it's also depends on what you're expecting. If you're expecting to see just a smear campaign, you're not going to get that. Oh no! And again, in my case, I remember. I just want to make it clear. I'm not talking about that, because unless I'm mistaken, a lot of that stuff was revealed or started going crazy later on.
Right.
You know, not this period of the movie. I'm not expecting it, but I just thought there'd be a little more family stuff, like you said, fleshed out.
But if you're a fan, though, whoever you're a fan of, what you're looking for, I guess, part of being a fan is you're looking for inspiration,
right?
Whoever you're looking for. So I guess they'll go to that film, Tom, looking for some kind of inspiration.
Yeah, you want to feel for the guy. I mean, there are some scenes where they show kind of glimpses of who he is, and then you get a sense of when he's living with the family. He's getting all of these animals. This is before Neverland, and he's getting Bubbles, the chip, and giraffes, and all of this stuff, and he considers them friends, his friends. So I mean, you kind of get a sense of how lonely he was.
Well, maybe part 2 could be the freak show.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Marries Lisa Marie Presley, dangles the kid off the balcony.
Cuts him up.
We could do some of that.
Yeah.
Hello, James Farley. There you go.
No. Yep. Nope. Yeah, I do know the actor that they initially cast to play Freddie Mercury. I'm forgetting his name now. He was a Borat. He left the project because he didn't think they were taking enough risks for the movie.
James was entertained. And again, people only look at it the way they want to see it. When Joe says he isn't going to see a movie, that means we'll get his review within 24 hours. Most of the time when I say something, I stick to what I say. And sometimes I don't. But people just think that way because whatever. They look at the glass as half empty.
Right.
All the time. Love You Save is another good one. Of course. That's my second favorite.
Yeah. I
think. Oh, really? Oh, geez. Look at that. I missed 2 of them. Oblong Box and Scream and Scream Again. Lee and Price. Shit.
We're getting old, Joe.
Hey, George Reese, if you're out there, I'm sorry. I forgot. I messed up. Let's see. Oh, come on. I didn't see any of them yet.
Yeah.
No, one.
Michael B. Jordan, who just won Best Actor for Sinners. He's got that coming, and then him and the one I'm kind of looking forward to is him and the guy that's played Elvis in the movie. They just signed on to do a Miami Vice reboot.
There we go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I'm not going to get into that. Cherry Card, I know what you're saying. I don't want to get into that because, I have opinions on that. I mean, it is possible not to do anything. Let's put it that way. It is possible. I want to be a kid again, kind of, But that's all I'll say about that. Instead, let's go to Tim. Tim, wake up. No, Tim's had to listen to us for like an hour. Tim, God, man. Now you weren't here last week, so you got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I actually found stuff at my thrift store, which again, for those who don't know, it's basically the only place I can get movies. Nobody sells them anymore. So I got a stack here. So I'll go really quickly. And I don't know a lot of these. I remember when this came out, but I never saw it. Clint Eastwood, The Trouble with the Curve. I know it's a baseball movie, and he seems like a 90-year-old guy would be too old to be a baseball scout.
Pitching coach. Yeah.
Whatever. I've never heard of this, but it's got Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts. So Larry Crown.
No idea. Another Crown affair.
No idea. But these were all $2. So $2. I'll watch that eventually. A Walk Among the Tombstones with Liam Neeson. That sounds cheery. So I grabbed that on Blu-ray. They never have Blu-rays at this place, so I grab them when they got them. And the second Wall Street, all I got to do is see the first one, and then I'll watch that.
What's that? A sequel?
Yeah, that's a sequel, Joe.
Sequel. The sequel to Wall Street. And believe it or not, you guys are gonna be like, what? But I've never seen this, and they had it, so I bought it. Network.
Yeah.
Well, I've
Oh,
never
wow.
seen it.
There you go.
Just watched that last week.
It
Network
seems like every show we talk about network. I don't know.
soon.
So that'll be your first time of seeing it then, Tim.
I read the book. Yeah, it'll be the first time. I read this book in high school, and then they showed the film, and I haven't seen it since. Sybil with Sally Field.
Oh yeah, that
So,
I know.
I
saw that on
actually
TV
looked
when it was
forward
first
to
on.
this too. I haven't seen it for 50 years almost.
Yeah.
So, and you guys talked about this movie last week, and then I found it at my thrift store. What's up, Doc?
Yeah.
With Barbara Streisand.
That was just on Turner yesterday.
Has that one got the audio commentary on it, Tim, from Peter Bogdanovich?
I think it has an audio commentary, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
There you go.
That was one of the good things about Peter Bogdanovich is he usually always did commentaries for his films.
Oh, his commentaries are fantastic. He even did commentaries for other people's films, and they're great.
Yeah, right. Especially Orson Welles stuff.
Yeah.
No idea about this, but it's got Deborah Carr. So The End of the Affair, no idea, but I love old films, so it's got Deborah Carr in it. I'll check it out. I haven't seen this movie in years, but I remember liking it, and I never see it, so I picked it up. Murder by Death with Peter Falk.
Peter Falk. I saw it when it came out.
Yeah, I saw it years and years and years ago. All I remember is people keep dying standing up, and that becomes a running joke in the movie. Nobody falls down when they die. So, and one more that I bought, and I have no idea. I've never heard of this. I have no idea, but it's a TV series that Steven Spielberg did called Taken. No idea, but it's just such a nice box. It's like 6 discs. Everything about it's minty and nice. I'm like, for $2, I'm gonna pick that up, check it out. So that's my purchases. I don't have that much more to say about what I watched either, to be honest, because I watched 4 Charles Bronson films.
Okay.
I watched these 3: The Mechanic, and Assassination, and what's the other one called? Messenger of Death. Yeah. The Mechanic is good. The other 2,
I've always enjoyed
the Canon films. The Canon films, and that says a lot right there.
How about Kinjite? You ever see Kinjite? I've seen that one. You know what's good? 10 to Midnight's pretty good.
I did like The Mechanic. I thought that was a fairly good film. Where he's Charles Bronson. He's Charles Bronson. That's the problem with Charles Bronson movies is that he's Charles Bronson. Yeah. But anyway, and then I watched Murphy's Law.
Oh yeah, that's with the girl in it. Is there a partner he has?
No, he's set up. He's
again.
He's set up, and so he literally has to escape prison to clear his name. It's one of those sorts of things.
Which is the one I'm thinking of when he's got like a partner or something that's a girl in it.
Well, the Mechanic, there's a young girl that tries to steal his car at the beginning, and then he winds up teaming up with her. That's The Mechanic.
Oh, baby, don't go.
So yeah, that's Charles Bronson. Whoa. I watched 2 Woody Allen movies that couldn't be farther apart. I watched Match Point. I'd never seen it.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like Match Point. I like Woody Allen when he's not there, and I mean, the guy can write a serious film. I mean, I know he's not. That's not what he does, but he can. And this is a pretty good, almost film noir type of thing. It was good. I enjoyed it, and
I generally like.
Gorgeous as always.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
I generally like the 3 movies that he did with Scarlett Johansson. Vicky Cristina, Barcelona, Scoop, and that one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, he was stuck on her for a while. Speaking of that, that's the other one I watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Couldn't
that
be
the
any
last movie
different
he's in. One of the last
from
ones
that.
Woody Allen's in.
Could be.
You know,
Could be, Joe.
the-
He just
I know.
pops in there.
Yeah. Kino just released that, Joe, if you haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, I have to get it.
Mm.
yeah, but
You
couldn't
know, the
be
best
any
genre.
different from that one.
I know.
I mean, this is typical Woody Allen comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember it
But
being much.
it was very good, and I enjoyed them both. And
Well, the
I'm glad
chemistry
that Woody
between
Allen-
Scarlett and Hugh Jackman was pretty good.
yeah, and I'm glad that Woody was still making good films.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed this film way more than I thought I would, for Pete's sake, which I talked about last time I was on. I just bought it. Now I've watched it. This is great. This is Barbara Streisand. This is her first non-musical. She's like, I want to do a film where I don't sing. I want to act. So and she's great in it. I thought she was wonderful in it, and so was, I forget his name because I don't know, Michael Garrett or Michael what? Sarrazin. He's great. They're both great. They're just a young couple trying to make it on their own, and antics ensue. It's basically, slapstick comedy. It's, one of those 30s screwball comedies is what it is. But and Barbara cut her long hair off for this movie. So, yeah. Good film. And there's still more. I told you I watched a lot. I watched this. I hate it. We're going back to Laserdisc here for a minute. I didn't like this movie the first time I saw it, and then I saw it again, and I really did. And this is a Luc Besson film, The Big Blue.
Yeah, The Big Blue. Yeah.
And I didn't like this the first time I saw it, and I can't figure out why, because I really enjoyed it this time. I thought it was a really good film. It's got John Reno in it, and Rosanna Arquette is gorgeous, and it's a really kind of cool film.
Well, the first time you saw it, they were probably munching popcorn in the cinema and talking and getting in the way.
No, I saw it on this Laserdisc, and I don't know, but this time I really enjoyed it. I don't know why I didn't the first time.
Didn't for Pete's sake have a little hold on. Oh, didn't for Pete's sake have a literal scene of a bull in a china shop?
Yes, it did. It did, and that's one of the funniest scenes because nothing happened. Not one bull, a whole stampede of bulls runs through a china shop, and nothing happens until she gets here, and she pounds on a wall, and then things come crashing down. That's the joke. She caused more havoc than the bulls was. And then I haven't seen this in a long time, so I decided to watch it again on Laserdisc. The Usual Suspect. Yeah. Great movie.
Yep.
Just I think it's a fantastic movie. I don't have a lot to say about it. It's just, if you haven't seen The Usual Suspects, you need to. It's just a great crime movie, and most people, the first time they saw it, would never guess the ending.
Right.
It's a really good film. Just one more, and you guys are going to be shocked that I've never seen this. This is the first time I have watched Goodfellas.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I've seen it like 3 times, and now I never want to see it again. It was all right. It was good. I just feel I'm done with it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I'd seen pieces and parts of it in film classes I'd taken and stuff.
Robert De Niro playing the usual parts.
Sure.
No, I saw it in one class where they were talking about what music can do for film, and it was towards the end when you get Harry Nilsson and George Harrison, and I forget what other movies or songs are just right in a row, bam, bam, bam. That was the part I saw and remembered. But,
well, the scene with De Niro smoking a cigarette and cream coming on, for me is one of the greatest, is one of the best.
I mean, it's a good. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's a good film. I don't see why everybody loves it so much, to be honest. But it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. But it will never be one of my favorite films. But Yeah.
Was Joe Pesci funny to you?
No, Joe Pesci was very, very, very dangerous, which is why, you know, what I consider him, you know.
You ever seen Casino?
No, I haven't seen Casino.
Like when he
Is that
talks
a
to the
bank?
banker.
Oh, the banker? Because I'm fucking
film,
stupid.
God.
Right about the time
I
you're
know.
coming out of the coma, I'm going to get out of jail. And guess what? I'm going to crack your fucking skull open again.
Anyway, that's everything
Right.
I saw. I tried to be short and sweet.
That's
so
a nice,
right
eclectic array of films. You know,
Yeah, I try to be eclectic. Some new stuff,
Yeah.
some old stuff. You know, try
You know,
to-
again, I'm going to start writing down other things I've seen. Like, for example, where's the part? Oh, I can't find it. Joe, have you seen more episodes of Columbo? Nope. And I stopped watching The Fugitive too, even though I was enjoying that but I'm still watching Frasier. We're up to season 6 of Frasier. So these are things we think I'm watching nothing. I'm watching Frasier. I don't really talk about when I'm watching like short subjects like Our Gang, aka The Little Rascals. There's Shrimps for a Day. And I know Rocco is gonna know this one. It's called Shrimps for a Day. It's hilarious. And then Laurel and Hardy, I watched Helpmates again when Ollie has the day after a wild party when his wife is out of town. Gonna have Stan come over and help him clean the house, and all kinds of mayhem ensues trying to get the house clean before the wife comes home. So yeah, I was watching that stuff too. So you know, save a little face because I don't watch a lot of features. I'm gonna, one day I'm gonna surprise you all.
I bet.
And I feel like there's other things I've watched I don't remember. I really do. But anyway, let's see if I can go up here again. 90% of my stuff comes from thrift stores. Tim, nothing wrong with that. For sure.
No, not at all.
No other stores sell movies near me. Literally none. So I don't have a choice. Walmart has this one little aisle of about 50 movies, and that's it for me.
There we go.
Husbands is okay.
Hello, Michael. I'm scanning for comments. Yeah, for Pete's sake, right? Great song by the Monkees. Yeah, written by Peter Tork. They say they can't write, they don't this and that. Great song. Even Peter Tork wrote one. Match Point has similarities with A Place in the Sun.
I love Woody Allen. I think he's one of the greatest directors, certainly of the 20th century. But I never liked any of the films he did in London. For some reason, but one of his personal favorites is Match Point. He thinks that's the closest one.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I saw it when I didn't really know what it was, and I thought I was very impressed, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Then I showed it to my girlfriend. The second time, I didn't like it as much.
Right.
It wasn't the one where with Ewan McGregor and Colin Farrell. Was that I'm forgetting the name of that one. I think that was set in London too. If I remember correctly,
but I like the fact that he had a good rapport and he brought the best acting out of Scarlett Johansson. And particularly at a time where he was being subject to cancel culture. I like her feistiness. Like she wouldn't have any of it. She would make her own mind up about stuff, and not because she was some ditzy blonde following a director, but because she had her own intelligence and she would apply her own skepticism. So I really like Scarlett Johansson. It's just that those London films, don't do it for me.
Great mix of films, Tim.
Yeah. Well, Tim's just showed more films than I've seen all this year.
Yeah.
I try to watch at least 5 a week.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you prefer Goodfellas or Casino?
That's it's another case where you can have your favorite, but you know what's the better of the two. You know, I consider Goodfellas the better of the two, but I really enjoy Casino.
I
really
have my
enjoy
answer for
Casino.
that. The Godfather.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Can you remember, Tom? Does Casino have a voiceover narration as well? I know.
Oh yeah. Yes.
They both
A
have.
lot from all three principals. Yeah.
Oh right. So Goodfellas just has one guy doing the narration.
Yeah. Henry Hill. Yeah.
So you're saying that the other one has three people doing the
Right.
narration?
Well, I'm you got the De Niro character doing it, you got the Pesci character doing it, and I'm kind of forgot if Sharon Stone had one or two in there as well. But yeah, it was basically De Niro and Pesci doing, the narration throughout the film.
Right, so that's a more complicated script for that film then.
Yeah, right. Blue Jasmine, Kate Blanchett, well deserved that Academy Award, and there is a little similarity with her character and the Vivian Lee character in Streetcar Named Desire. I think I would agree with that.
I have that movie. I need to watch it. I haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
I read that when Ali gets all that soot from the stovepipe and Helpmates and other such scenes, like your Laughing Gravy and Dirty Work, they used cocoa powder. I'll tell you one thing, man. That guy Oliver Norval Hardy, man, he was in for a lot of abuse in some of those movies. You really think about. You ever think like how hard that job that must be? Like aside from the fun, if it's comedy and it's fun, this guy's getting it all, man. I can't even think. Mashed over the head, his head comes up through the dresser drawer when it's open. All this kind of stuff, man. Did 4D man work in the media film?
No, my PhD was in part. It was interdisciplinary, but my PhD was in part film and media. But I've not worked in it other than to lecture in it.
Don Rickles joked saying that he carried De Niro in Casino.
Yeah, he's got some good lines. Good lines.
By the way, I gotta say, I was gonna say I like the series of the Fockers, but not really. I like Meet the Fockers very much, and to a lesser degree the second one, but I didn't like the third one very much.
No,
and now this next new one, I saw the trailer. Have you seen it?
Yeah, and it looks like it's Fokker now does look like it's a return to form. However, kind of the roles switched over where it's Ben Stiller kind of playing the De Niro from the first film.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I'll be there opening day.
When is it supposed to come out? Do you know?
Whoa.
Was it November?
Cheers, Halloween.
Yeah. November.
Maybe it's a holiday, yeah. Maybe for Thanksgiving. Yeah. That's a Thanksgiving type of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
In the States.
I was disappointed about like Dustin Hoffman and Babs not returning. But it's all right.
No, I could just take them with the one movie. That's too for me personally. Yeah. Oh, who's in there? What's her name is in there? Who's in the new one? What's the singer from Ariana Grande. Yeah. I was just watching something the other night on Tubi TV, and they talked about the whole Me Too movement. And Hoffman's name was brought up during that whole thing, and it kind of like clicked on my head. Well, maybe that's why he hasn't, been in a lot of stuff lately. I know he's in that new movie. He's in a new movie coming out here soon, it's great to see him in movies again.
Yeah. So he was caught up in that as well. Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, the Me Too movement was discredited to some degree, and rightly so, I think. With the Johnny Depp case, when he showed a lot of stuff that, that made people think, well, maybe Amber Heard actually has a dark side that hasn't been, that Me Too shouldn't have been so believing of in the first.
So believing, because there's always two sides of the story.
Yeah.
Hi, John. I mean, I you're always welcome to come up, but at this point, I'm not going to be on much longer because I got to eat in 10. I always say that. Then I say, you know what? Let's delay that.
Yeah, I do need to get off in 10 minutes myself too.
Yeah.
Just 30 or 40 more questions.
Yeah. When Oliver Hardy closes a door, the transom falls down on his head. in your opinions, who's the best male and female actor? It's easy for me to say for the female for me to say Meryl Streep, I think, but the male I have trouble finding the best male actor in my mind.
Betty Davis for me. Both female and male.
It's a good one to have. It's a really good one to have.
Anybody?
Orson Welles had this lovely line that he gave to Peter Bogdanovich about a definition of ham actors, because usually people think of ham acting is when you're acting large, like you're in a theater, you're not realizing you're
Right.
on screen where it's blown up. But Orson Welles said, no, not necessarily. A ham actor is somebody who pitches his performance beyond the shoes he can fill. So if you act large, if you can fill that presence, you're not ham acting, no matter how large you go. It's when your pitch extends what your being can fill into. So with Betty Davis, she sometimes acted very large, but she could fill it. She could fill that screen.
She's one of my favorites.
Right.
Yeah. And I said this I think last week.
Yeah.
So I think so too. With some of those '30s movies, she's. But that changed fast, man.
Yeah. I keep going back and forth to. I mean, I think
terrible.
By the time we got to All About Eve, I think it was getting.
I think Joe, you're right. I think you can't discredit Meryl Streep as the greatest actress of all time, but then I see a Barbara Stanwyck performance and I'm going, well, I think she's the greatest actress of all time.
That's what I was
thinking.
Yeah.
And if you've been watching this show for the last 2 years, you know who my favorite male actor is.
Yeah,
it's got to be De Niro for you. I would.
It's got to be Al Pacino, right?
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, I'm a Charlton Heston buff, but I don't have any delusions that he's the greatest actor. I just like him and his style and his characters.
He's really good. He's really good, actually.
Yeah. Or he can be good.
Jimmy Stewart.
Oh yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, Tim. I think that's a great pick as well. Seriously, I don't think I've seen a bad Jimmy Stewart performance yet.
I think he was great.
No, like he played everything from the dumbest comedies to to Western outlaws to everything in between. I mean,
and when Anthony Mann discovered the dark side of James Stewart in some of those westerns,
some of those films, right?
When you start reading biographies of James Stewart, you realize, fucking hell, you don't want to get on the wrong side of him because he can be sweet as pie, but when he gets angry, there's no middle ground. Even Henry Fonda found that out, and they were best mates. But like, if he loses it, he really does lose it.
I never saw Stagecoach before, and I came in the middle of it, and it's funny, because my favorite movies, I will say, the 30s, a lot, 40s, 50s, and up to the 70s, and even some 80s. But it's once in a blue moon, I see something I haven't seen before. I think, wow, is this what the kids feel like today when they watch it? I'm like, Stagecoach. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't see enough of it, but
I love
John Wayne. I don't get it. What's that? Sorry.
I love Stagecoach. I think it's.
You also got to understand that that was the westerns. That was the genre for how many decades? 20s, 30s, 40s. I mean, more westerns were being produced in those 40 years than any other genre.
It's one of the first ones that wasn't just the bad guys are going to steal Mabel's ranch. It was a lot more to it than that. It was almost the first psychological western.
But I couldn't handle John Wayne, man. I was watching. I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm not a John Wayne guy.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite actors. I think he's one of the most underrated actors that's ever lived, because everybody thinks he can't act. And
that's why.
Well, I mean,
hey, Ringo. His name's Ringo. They call him Ringo, and I kept thinking of Ringo from the Beatles. But
I don't know. I mean, his performance in Genghis Khan might have not have been that great.
Well, no, but everybody has one or two.
Yeah. Everybody has a bad day at the office.
Now, come on.
Yeah,
I know, Tom,
well,
you
it's
don't
not
see a
his
lot-
fault either. It's whoever cast John Wayne as Genghis Khan's fault. It's not John Wayne's fault.
How about like they catch him at well in that movie, The Greatest Story Ever Told, which I think is the most boring story ever told. That movie, but they have all these different cameos by different actors in it. It's like it's a mad world of the Bible. But anyway. And there's a part where you just see a soldier, like a Roman soldier, after Jesus dies, and he says, just hear his voice. Truly, this man was the Son of God. You see this centurion soldier who standing there, and he says that. I'm like, yeah, man, it's hilariously bad. But I'll tell you, Tom, you don't usually watch, I don't think, old comedies. Like I'm still waiting for you to get through the Honeymooners, but you're not familiar with I Love Lucy, are you at all, Tom?
Oh well, I mean, I'm familiar with it. I mean, I remember watching some reruns as a kid, but it never kept me interested enough to watch them.
Well, you must watch it. I insist.
Yeah. I must.
My favorite John Wayne thing of all time is the John Wayne episode of I Love Lucy, when Lucy goes to Roman's Chinese theater and steals John Wayne's footprints. And John Wayne is in there. He agrees to keep helping out and making a new set of prints to put back into the cement, and all kinds of stuff keeps going wrong. You got to keep making a new set, and over and over again. And of course, because Ricky Ricardo, Desi Arnaz, has he's an actor in there. He's like as an in. That's why they're in Hollywood, and he knows John Wayne and all this. But anyway, I like John Wayne in that. I think he's pretty funny.
I half agree with Joe, and I half agree with Tim. I think John Wayne was dreadful in the 1939 Stagecoach, just ponderously dreadful. And there are some scenes in Legend of the Lost where he tries to do comedy, and it's so on the nose. It's like wrestling, where you exaggerate every gesture just dreadfully. But at the same time, I think Tim's dead right. I think he's very underestimated as an actor. He can be great,
And
in Legend of the Lost, I blame the director for those scenes, because he's good in other scenes in that film, but in those scenes where he overacts, the director could have took him down a bit if he had the guts at least to say, can you bring that down a bit, John? And then in things like, The Searchers, he was magnificent in that and kind of playing against type. But also, I think one of his great performances, I think, was, and maybe I'm biased because I think it's my favorite Western, but in Rio Bravo.
Thank you.
He has the good grace to let Walter Brennan do his great character acting bits while he just witnesses it.
Right.
And it takes a certain stillness and attentiveness to do that. And John Wayne definitely has that, and he gives it to the cast of that film. He gives it to Dean Martin as well. And so part of the reason why those actors, and even Ricky Nelson, he raises his bar there, but the reason why those three actors, Dean Martin, Walter Brennan, Ricky Nelson, perform so well in that film, I think, is because John Wayne gives them that witnessing consciousness. He's there with them, and he just lets them have the scene. So he is a great actor.
Red River as well.
People think he didn't work very well with other people. Well, the man who shot Liberty Valance, to Tim and Jimmy Stewart,
I was going to mention,
he backs off and gives Jimmy, and,
I remember liking that one the one time I saw it. North by Northwest, by the way, where do you get this from? I mean, I've said it's very convoluted and hard to follow. That's all I could say about it. And I don't think I've ever really given it 100%. It's what I'm not really sure about. I wouldn't commit to saying I don't like it yet until I really, I've caught a lot of it. It's hard to follow what's going on to me, at least early on, and then we'll see.
I actually don't think it's one of Hitchcock's best. It's a good film.
There's some great
Everybody
things.
says it's one of his best. It's like Pet Sounds, like it.
I'm
in the minority.
There's some great things in it. I don't think it's his best, but there's some great things.
In fact, I think it's probably Cary Grant's worst Hitchcock film, to be honest.
Cary Grant.
To Catch a Thief, I think, might be his worst.
There's an article. You know, there's an article called Cary Grant's Suit, which is all about North by Northwest, but it follows the plot purely by what happens to Cary Grant's suit all the way through the film. It stays with his suit.
Well, see,
Yeah,
the thing about the thing about To Catch a Thief, Tom, is that I don't think that's meant to be taken seriously. I think that's almost Hitchcock doing a comedy, and that's why I like it. It's not like the other Hitchcock films.
Don't you think it's weird in To Catch a Thief? You know where Grace Kelly's doing the fast driving around the bend, and it's almost the same location where she died, where she went off the ridge, where she actually. I thought, whoa, that's weird. Coincidence.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. Hell's Angels beat up Bogdanovich. It is un-American to not love John Wayne. Well, then I'm un-American because I don't love him. But then again, I haven't seen the best ones. I want to see. I keep saying Rooster Cogburn. What the heck? True Grit. I still have never seen True Grit. And how was he as a cop in those late movies?
I've never seen any of those later cop movies.
He's okay. He's not great. Not great. Not, at least the one where he goes. What is it? Brannigan, the one where he goes to London.
I saw my grandma took me to see True Grit in 1969, and I sulked because in those days, if you wanted to, you could stay in and watch it twice. And I really wanted to do that. My grandma said, "No, we've got to get back home," and I sulked for the rest of the evening.
Yep.
Honestly, I don't want to say anything bad about dear old James Stewart because I have nothing bad to say, except that, and I haven't seen nearly enough. But everything I've seen of him, he's kind of the same to me. I don't know. He's kind of a little bit. I mean, see Harvey. See if you haven't seen Death Street Rise Again with. You've seen Death Street Rise Again with Marlene Dietrich is a really good earlier one.
Talking about Marlene Dietrich, there's a film where James Stewart came to London, and Dietrich was in it as well. And the film is called No Highway in the Sky. It's about 1951, I think.
I watched that 6 months ago.
Right, and he plays the same. He's not the same character, but the same kind of whimsicality that you get in Harvey. You get in No Highway in the Sky because he's definitely a quirky boffin, a very eccentric character.
Right.
But the only difference is that he does become intense when he thinks that the aircraft is going to crash, and he's certain of it. So that brings out his intensity. I think he's got a great range.
Yeah, I did too.
I saw Bringing Up Baby once.
Yeah, there's a trio of Hepburn and Bringing Up Baby. There's Holiday. And then there was the one with Jimmy Stewart as well. Why am I?
The Philadelphia Story.
Philadelphia Story. Yeah, those three were really good.
Yeah.
Well, Philadelphia Story is great. I think it might be Cary Grant's best performance in one of them. He's great in that.
Could be.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, that was always the weaknesses of Hitch. Every time you did back projection.
A lot of people. It's funny because McHugh was good, but John Wayne's hairpiece should get some credit. I gotta say, when I was watching.
The thing about John Wayne in some of the later films where it was a cop is I don't think it's John Wayne that I just think they've got this guy in his 60s is this action cop, and I don't think that's a good. I don't necessarily think it's John Wayne. I think anybody at that age trying to pull that stuff off isn't gonna do it because he's just too old.
I couldn't help, like I was watching again, The Last Hard Man. I was watching some of that. A Western, folks. It's a Western. And and I was looking at Charlton Heston's rug. I'm thinking what there was cat. I'm like, man, I don't know. It's just weird.
That was the last film I made a point of seeing when it first came out because it was Charlton Heston. And I started to realize while I was watching it that time was slipping away and it was time for me to move on.
Yeah. For what it's not. I mean, I'm sure I watched the whole thing at one point, but I've been trying to get into it again and see it, and it was like it just doesn't do much for me.
But I mean, it happens to us all, doesn't it?
Oh, there's a spoiler, James. Way to go, buddy.
Are you telling me that you don't know it, but you don't know it? Thanks a lot.
The fellow who mentioned Rio Bravo, I may have mentioned it before, but it's worth reiterating. I discovered that there's a CD you can get now, which is a double CD of the soundtrack, and it includes outtakes and it includes all kinds of ephemera and the full Dmitri Tiomkin soundtrack, including the songs they do in the jailhouse. And I never, back in the 1970s when I used to collect soundtracks, I never thought they'd even have My Rifle Pony.
My Rifle Pony and Me. Yeah.
And I didn't think they had the master tapes to be able to do that. And now, all these years later, you can buy this CD, a double CD of the original motion picture soundtrack of Rio Bravo. And it's magnificent. Magnificent.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll have to look for that because I mean I love that song and I love the songs that Ricky Nelson sings in that film. They're great.
Yeah, and they do a little bit of duet, him and Dean Martin together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, Tom, you'll hear two different versions of that song where they duet, because they did one.
Oh, great!
One project was a single, and one project was for the film, so you hear them both. And you also hear John Wayne introduce it because they made a special radio broadcast of it. So you hear John Wayne on the radio introducing it. There's so much in that double CD; it's well worth getting.
Cool. Yeah, Warren Beatty, not a bad little 70s film there.
Yeah, from the Paranoid 70s.
Yeah, it's the Paranoid 70s. Absolutely. Robert Redford and Warren Beatty did some good ones.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Tom, you got to get a movie channel going, man.
Yeah, I got to eat too.
Yeah, me too.
The sun is sinking in the west.
Well, looks like we're at the end of the line.
End of the line.
You got no time left. So anyway, there's no really more comments coming anyway. So thank you, everybody. This was another fun show.
Yeah, it was great.
And what can I say? We'll do it again, hopefully Monday. I forgot today. You see, I forget sometimes. Tom sent me a text. I said, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
Oh yeah. But I did send you the photo. What movie did I send you that's coming out? Oh yeah, Arrow is doing a Soylent Green. Coming out live. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to quadruple or quintuple or whatever dip for that.
Have you got any news on the extras yet? Whether they're just going to port over the?
Oh, there's plenty. Oh my God, there's plenty of special features.
And there's more than what's there already. We have all the ones that are there are going to be on it, but they're going to be more.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to get it then.
Yeah. Blind Man. Well, I think Tim liked it, right? Somebody liked Blind Man. I forget who.
It's on Tubi. You can see that on Tubi now.
Cut version and an uncut version. You need to see the uncut version.
Thank you. Great show. Oh, baby, don't go. Oh, we get that Ringo album. Baby, don't go.
That's about 3 songs you've done today, Joe. Are you half drunk? I thought it was me that was half drunk.
Oh, baby, don't go. How simple can you get? But I love it.
Yep. Hey, this is very enjoyable 33 minutes.
Yeah. For me, not as enjoyable as the last album, but it's still okay. It's good. It's a good album. It's just not great to me personally.
Pretty good.
All right, everybody. So let's wave. Everybody, talk soon.
Yes,
See you all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
On screen and off.
Catch you later.